What's going on, traders? It's Ricky with TechBet Solutions. Thank you guys again so much for joining us for another recap on today's video. I do apologize for this video being so late or so delayed. Our videos within TechBet Solutions YouTube channel are usually uploaded between 10:30 to 12:30 a.m. Or 12:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. But today was kind of a busy day. I ended up heading out and trading actually out there in Lake Pleasant here in Arizona. So we had a fun day out there. I was trading with two of my accounts today, so I think I was shutting it out. Obviously, I wasn't as active, so I do apologize for that, and I hope you guys all did well. I did see a lot of activity with a series of different stocks, and I will be talking about three different stocks today. I only ended up trading one stock, and that was actually MTBC. Let me make sure I always say like MBTC, but it's MTBC. Focusing on, I traded that with my Robinhood account and then with my Fidelity account. The reason I traded it with my Robinhood account, it's because I'm participating in this $1,000 challenge within TechBet Solutions. So if you guys don't know what that is, it should be on the top video within our YouTube channel. So feel free to click on our YouTube channel and it'll explain a little bit more about what this challenge is. But for everyone that's been participating, I've seen a lot of positive feedback. And it really comes down to, kind of being a little bit more organized with your trades, understanding that you only need 2.33% growth per day to go from $1,000 to $20,000 3 days out of a week, and then 4 times a month, 12 times a year to actually make that transition of growing your account from $1,000 to $20,000. So I think putting that into your guys' head is actually a lot easier for you guys to understand and see the value and see the potential when just locking in the profits. Because I know, especially when I trade with my larger account, now it's my Fidelity account. I trade with like $3,000. I don't have to worry about the PDT rule since I have a cash account and it's a little bit over $25,000. And then with that specific account, I only risk $3,000 for all those that always ask me. I only risk $3,000 per trade, and the reason I do that is just because that's what I feel comfortable with. So it really comes down to you as how much you feel comfortable, investing. With that, I usually lock in 7 to 8% profit on average, right, every time I day trade. But I do day trade, a couple of times. Luckily today, I was a little bit shy of my actual, what was it, 7.5%. But overall, I locked in $234 with my trade on MTCB. But I apologize. There it is again. Down to actually taking a loss first on my Robinhood account, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that. I am ending my Robinhood account, the last day on a red note, and it really came down to not being as disciplined as I wanted to. And the whole reason that I'm making this video for you guys that are asking is to explain my whole thought process, because within TechBet Solutions, that's actually what we do best. We share best practices and we share mistakes because we know that no one's perfect and that not everyone's going to be able to, achieve success rate when it comes to investing all the time. That's just not very realistic. It really comes down to you as the investor to learn, plan and trade, and then to repeat and minimize loss, because in doing that, I feel like you'll still have that confidence in trading. And there's a lot of investors that continuously lose money, but they continue to learn and refine themselves as a day trader, and then they can take a step back, continue losing, risking less. Maybe that can help you manage your risk, and then you'll start learning from your best practices and your mistakes. But I want to make sure that you guys aren't just doing this day trading type of challenge or day trading type of career as in a hope to be an overnight success or get rich quick. In no way is it going to be like that. You need money to make money, and you need knowledge to be successful, especially when it comes to this specific market, because it's obvious that 90% of people that end up investing in the stock market lose money. So why for someone like you that is maybe starting out or is experienced, why does that make you any different? So it really comes down to you as being wanting to be that 10% that's successful, to make the most of it and to minimize any potential loss. And the best way in doing that, planning and trading, or learning, planning, and executing. At least that's based on my own experience. Whatever works for you, that's great, but I can guarantee you 100%, you not putting the effort to actually learn and plan and, learn from your mistakes, and just hoping for the best and going based on someone else's opinion is not really going to lead to your success. You might get lucky sometimes, but in the long run, this is not a market that you get lucky on every single time you trade. So I'm going to go right into my actual trades for today. Again, it's very simple. And then I wanted to talk about two stocks that I called out right as the market opened, and that was DRYS. I called it out at the 83-cent support. I should have gotten in. I didn't know this was going to happen. Again, some things are unpredictable. Went from 83 cents all the way up to like $1.16. So I actually saw it as it was climbing. We were on the boat already. I had still a little bit of data or connection, right? And it was great, right? The reason that I thought it was great, although I wasn't in it, was because of the exposure that my group within TechBit Solutions led to. There's a lot of people that were able to profit and were able to see the momentum, rising, and the price for DRYS continuing to break every resistance, and then from there, drop down to the 95% or 95-cent support and continue to go back up. So I'm just going to start sharing my screen so you guys can see what I'm talking about. But overall, I hope you guys had an amazing Cinco de Mayo. For all those that are gonna, go out and have fun or whatever it is that you guys want to do to celebrate this, or whatever it is that you guys want to do, I hope you guys have an amazing time. I hope you guys and be ready for this upcoming week. So, something that can be very helpful is not only learning from me, but reaching out to other members that you think, share good best practices. DM them, ask them, what do you think I'm doing wrong? And I think, in doing that, you're networking with people that have the same mindset, but might be a little bit more experienced than you. So I'm just going to leave you off with that note and start sharing my screen so I can go into my recap and my whole thought process with MTBC. Alrighty, so this is MTBC. I'm going to get a little bit closer. Obviously, level 2, there is no volume right now just because the market is closed. So I'm going to go ahead and change that. For those that don't know and use Thinkorswim by TD Ameritrade, the level 2, to access that data is actually right here. We made a video about level 2, and that was actually live yesterday. So feel free to watch that if you haven't done so already. We elaborated a little bit more on that. But pretty much this is how it opened. So I actually thought MTBC was actually going to have a really good day. MTBC has one that has been doing very well, especially within the past couple of days. It came from a really low, 124 to highs of 287 and has continuously been holding, but then it also has continuously been on a downward trend within the past 3 days. So it's been breaking supports. It has little rises to about 237 and is now breaking those supports and is now seeing a downward trend. It did end up closing at 193, so that was good. But the thing that, I didn't really like also was that during pre-market hours, it was actually at 210, or I'm sorry, after market hours. Supposedly it was at 210, which was, great and all, but order never got filled to sell. So I really don't know what happened. And then all of a sudden the market did end up opening in pre-market hours. There wasn't much movement, ended up dropping down, and then, huge pullback all the way down to 175 and then continue to see a downward trend. I'm going to get a little bit closer so you guys can see what I'm talking about. But pretty much what I want you guys to focus on is, like we know, old supports become new resistance levels. So we're looking at the bounce right here, right? This was an old support. So ignore all this data right here and focus on this, the bounce, right? The support was around 185 and then resistance was around, about $2, or 198 if you want to be, exact. So that was the support. This was the resistance. It broke the support, obviously, right? So right when it dropped below 188, it had a huge red pullback all the way down to 175. So let's focus on that. Now, as day traders, this is why I love chasing red stocks. You're supposed to catch it, on these drops because you're going to see solid bounces. Jeremy, which is actually one that a channel that I feature within my YouTube channel, he's a big YouTuber. He came over. He wanted to trade a little bit before we actually went, on the boat, right? And within 5 minutes, I told him, I was like, well, what are you looking at? I was like, well, look at MTBC. Tell me if this makes sense to you. Had a huge pullback. Look at the potential it has. The old resistance was around 185. So that's going to be, the old support was at 185. So this is going to be a new resistance. So as it, built its support right here at 167, 166, it starts rising. And where is it going to hit? Where is it going to, peak at, right? That's the whole point. Where are you buying? Where are you selling? And where are you going to cut your losses? Well, I was like, look, what's your risk? You get in anything, you want to make sure that you're catching it on the rise. So I told him, be patient and make sure that it starts to rise. So what we did for him, right, was making sure that he caught it on the rise. He ended up catching it at about 173, and he can comment if I'm mistaken. And then it started to rise, and I was like, all right, well, where are you going to sell? Well, the old resistance was at 185. To not be greedy, just try to sell at 183, 184. He ended up selling at 184, and that quick profit was within like 5 to 10 minutes. of him just standing in my driveway and just talking about a stock that has potential. We created a plan, knowing where we're buying, knowing where we were selling at. Good volume, it was showing upward momentum. The EMA indicator, everything showed according to plan. This is why we have that prime berry pick, because we want to it's a checklist, right, that I created for you guys for this $1,000 challenge to filter out any stocks that you shouldn't be trading. And it's with criteria that you guys come up with. A big criteria, the biggest three for me, are RSI, upward momentum, and volume. And it met all those, criteria, and it shows it, right? So it's showing upward momentum, and we cut it at the bounce, and it's going to be 100%, right? So he had his stop loss. I told him, I was like, look, you're getting it at 167. That's where it bounced twice, and cut losses anything below 167, so 166.9 if that's where he wanted to cut losses. And once it starts rising, remove the stop loss and put the limit order. That's exactly what he did. So again, he stuck to his plan, locked in his profits, and that was it. Now his account is actually in the green overall from when he originally started, which is, I think, something that is, it's obviously a beautiful thing. And I want to talk about this very quickly. Him and his brother Jordan and Jeremy, they said, like, this is definitely, I think, a market. Them as successful YouTubers have said, this is definitely something that I'd like to dedicate my time into, because if it's not money that I make right now, I know if I learn the whole concept of investing later on down the road, once I have more money, then I can actually implement what it is that I learn. Today trading, you identify potential and you set up a plan for success. You minimize risk and you promote growth. It makes it a lot more. It makes it a lot easier for you guys to understand and build that confidence. And actually, I feel comfortable, although I am risking money, because it's the market that you're in. You're an entrepreneur, an investor, a day trader, risking money. So you have to understand that there's going to be a margin of risk, but you have to understand that you're doing this for a margin of profit. And in doing that, although he's had a couple red days, right? And if you locked in, I believe it's a little bit over 7% profit. That's profit for the week. Finished the week, in the green. He's on track to, convert his account for $1,000, which is what we're trying to do. It's just about staying consistent, being realistic, and locking in the profits, and always having a plan. If you don't know what it is, if you're asking someone, where should I buy or where should I sell? You should have not even, bought if you didn't know what you were going to sell. And you shouldn't be asking based on someone else's opinion on what you should be investing in if you truly don't understand this whole concept of investing. There's nothing wrong. What are you looking at, or what do you see potential in? But when it comes down to, as an individual, as an investor, someone that wants to be successful in the stock market, and ask someone, what are you investing in so I can do the same? That's not necessarily something that's not something at all that we want to promote within TechBit Solutions, because that's what leads to that 90% of people that lose money, because they don't initially understand what they're getting themselves into. When you as an investor make sense of it, and the whole point of this group is exposure, and you as an investor, as a well-educated investor, can analyze it, create a plan, and execute, and minimize your risk, right? Manage your risk and promote growth. And it's a concept that's simple. And the reason I want to continue repeating this as much as possible, I know I do this all the time on my daily recaps, it's because I think a lot of you don't understand it, because we get that same repetitive question within our group. Where are you selling? Now, there's nothing wrong with getting other people's points of views, but don't let that be the deciding factor on where you choose to invest your hard-earned money. That's the biggest thing that I want to make sure that TechBit Solutions, if you guys take anything from this group, is to make sure you as an investor understand what you're getting yourself into, that you understand your risk. So I created, in a sense, that graph, that Excel sheet that you guys can input the price that you're buying at, input the price that you plan on selling, and input where your stop loss is. It calculates your max loss, right, your stop loss, and it calculates your profit and your percentage of profit, potential for growth. And your potential for growth should always be greater than your potential for loss. And in doing that, you have a plan for success. Yes, you'll see red days. That's inevitable, especially when it comes to this specific type of business or market that you're trying to get yourself into. But just know that without a plan, you're kind of just hoping for the best. And that's definitely not something that I want to support. I want to make sure that you guys put in your hard work. And I have a lot of things going on, and I try my best. If I can fit in 10 minutes every single day within my busy schedule as a full-time student worker, I have a series of different businesses. I have a girlfriend, I have a family, I have a bunch of friends, and I can juggle all that. And although my type of lifestyle might be an extreme example for some of you, I know that you guys can find 10 minutes within your day to analyze, learn, and plan. That's all I ask for you guys. It's something that I've been sharing within the Tech Club Solutions Facebook platform, which the link is provided for you down below. But it's something that we've talked about multiple times. Put in the work, due diligence. Like, don't just hope for the best. Put in work, analyze, plan, trade. It's a concept so simple, and the more you do it, the more you'll learn. And then post it, and read other people's posts and see their whole thought process. Ask them questions. That's the whole point of this group. This whole point of this group, again, is not just to hope that you guys can mimic every trade that I do, because I'm not always going to be very successful, and I have sometimes a lot more day trades than you guys, because if I trade with my Fidelity account, I don't have that PDT rule. With this $1,000 challenge, starting with this $1,000 account, yeah, that's something that I encounter a lot. And when I run out of day trades, that is something that sucks. And I'm not going to let anyone else's opinion, in a sense, infringe, my knowledge as an investor. But exposure is always welcome. So now, again, I'm going to start sharing my screen and talking to you guys about my trade with MTBC. So when I saw, in a sense, what's it called, Jeremy's trade, I saw that he ended up buying in at the 173, right? I saw that the support was at 166. It did end up breaking that, or 167. It did end up breaking that later throughout the day. I got the alert because I set my alert as that was the support. I set my alert for 167 once it goes below it, and I went to lows of 166. And then I set my alert there again, as you guys can see by this little pinpoint. And pretty much what I wanted to know is to make sure that I didn't break this. It started seeing an upward trend, so I bought in at 167. So I started seeing that upward momentum, and I really started to see the volume die down. You can say that I got lucky, because the volume, in a sense, is the type of quality that I always look for. Volume wasn't, in a sense, there. But I knew my margin for risk was very small, because I had my stop loss set right below the 1.66. So my risk was small. My potential for profit was the same as Germany's, all the way up to around 180, 185. Because the volume was so low, I saw it struggling to break these resistance. Ended up seeing an upward trend. This is a trend that we see very common. It peaks, comes back down, peaks again, comes back down, but not as much as it did before. And then peaks again and comes back down, but not as much as it did before. So it builds these triangles, right? And these triangles, these bounces, as it hits the resistance, become smaller. And then it breaks the resistance. It pops above it, and this resistance here around 180. And I saw right as it was coming up, it was a busy day. I wasn't too into actually investing as much time as I could with MTBC or with my day trades. So I set my limit to sell at 1.799 with my Fidelity account. Ended up selling, locked in $234 worth of profit. With my trade, it was a little bit over $3,000, but not much. And that was my trade. It's an amazing trade, simple concept, plan. Where I was buying, where I was selling, where I was going to cut my losses, and that was it. So that didn't go the same with my Robinhood account, just because I got in a little bit. And again, it's something that I need to learn, is that I need to be a little bit more patient, especially with that day trade. So something that I can do instead of going with my Robinhood account and then riding the price all the way down, and then going with my Fidelity account, is going with my Fidelity account, since I have more day trade with that, and then going with my Robinhood account once I see that potential it's proven to itself, or proven to me that it has that potential. So that's just something that an area of improvement for myself. But ended up closing at 193. But again, my limit order didn't even get filled, so the volume was so low that I don't even think anything got filled after market hours. And that's just something, again, we're going to have to see on how it goes. But then let's go ahead and talk about DRYS very quickly. I called out the support, and this was because of pre-market hours. During pre-market hours, I saw there was a resistance as of yesterday at 85 cents. During aftermarket hours and pre-market hours, it did not break that resistance. Now, there was a previous support right here at 79. It broke below that. So it was almost seeing a downward trend, but again, the volume wasn't really there during pre-market hours. Right as the market opened, there's a huge red candlestick all the way down. Actually, I ended up seeing DRYS when it was at around 80 to 83 cents. So I actually was catching it on the rise, and I was calling it out within the Technical Solutions platform. So if you guys are there in the Technical Solutions group chat, you guys could even go back to see if you guys can find my alert, or if you guys actually saw it, go ahead and let them know. But pretty much I called it as it was seeing an upward trend, because my RSI indicator was indicating that it was seeing an upward trend, or it was actually increasing, as well as my SMA indicator. And I just set my alerts, and these were old alerts that were going off when it was breaking 90, when it was breaking 95, when it was breaking $1, when it was breaking 105. And I was on the boat, and I was like, oh my God, well, I need to shout this out to the group. And as it was rising, I was shouting it out, and then people started locking in all the profits, ended up hitting highs of 119, and that's huge. Coming down from lows of 78 cents to highs of, almost 120, that's amazing. That's, what is that, from 70 or 80, about 40 cents, profit out of a initially $80.80 stock. So it's almost 50% profit. It's ridiculous, right? And again, this is not necessarily something that I want to promote, but it's something that when you manage your risk properly, it's something that can happen. This is definitely not something that you're going to see every single day, but setting up a plan on, okay, well, I saw the bounce happen at 78 cents. I'm going to try to get in when it breaks above the resistance at 80, and if it starts to see an upward trend, I'll buy in and sell out the resistance, which was originally around like 85 or 90, if I'm not mistaken, and cut losses anything below 78 cents. Again, minimizing risk, promoting growth. And then you can follow with a trailing stop loss, and you probably would have followed all the way up to like probably this point around 105 before it started seeing pullbacks. But that was it. And then the last one that I wanted to talk about was FNCX. It's one that's been talked about within our group quite often. After market hours, it looked like it did pretty well. But again, this one had a support, like old support right here, old support, not going below the 75 cents. It did go below it once, but overall it didn't go below 75 cents. Held that 75 cents once the market opened. So again, indicating a good buy, indicating that if you buy at 75 cents, you can stop loss out, minimizing risk. And what's your potential for profit? Well, the resistance previously was around 90 cents. So huge, 15 cents for a 7 cent stock. That's about 20% profit margin with a less than 1% or about a 1% risk, right? So setting up a plan and going for it. Unfortunately, I didn't catch this until my alerts were going off. But this is why it's so important to perform technical analysis on the stocks that you have within your group chat. Because not only is, having them in your watch list like useful, but why is having anything, stored without really understanding where it's at helpful? So something that I do, and I'm going to make a video about it. Maybe I'll make this as my helpful video, but how is it that I set up, my alerts, and how do I plan in a sense to trade for the following day? So I think this can be something that can be very useful. The reason I say you guys should be putting in at least 10 minutes every single day, Sunday through Thursday. And the reason I do that is because that's the day before the market opens. So Sunday preparing for Monday, Tuesday preparing for Wednesday, and then Thursday preparing for Sunday for Friday. So it just goes like that. 10 minutes, that's all it takes. And it comes down to discipline. How much you guys actually want it. So once you guys make sure that every stock that's in your, in your watch list, and this is how you're going to filter out stocks, you can use the different Excel sheets that I've shared with you guys, and plan for, the stocks that saw the highest volume, the stocks that, saw the biggest loss, the stocks that saw the biggest, increase, whatever it is that you guys want to filter through. And I'll talk about how I did it. Maybe I'll make it my helpful video today. But pretty much what I want you guys to focus on is to plan, to identify potential, like these different stocks, and identify, okay, well, like DRYS was trending at this, or what was it? FNCX was holding during pre-market, above the 75 cent support. And the potential for profit is 90 cents. So 15 cents more, potential for profit. So the potential for profit is a lot greater than the potential for, to stop loss out, which is about 1%. So the potential for profit is a lot greater. So now setting up this whole plan, writing it down on, paper or wherever it is that you want to write it down. If you guys want to use my Excel sheet with the prime berry picks within Technical Solutions, just search up files within the Facebook Technical Solutions platform, and it'll populate so you can download it and download it as an Excel sheet. And then once you do that, now you have a plan actually for, Monday when you're about to trade to, revise yourself. And during pre-market hours, you should be analyzing the market to make sure the stocks that you analyzed the night before are, trading according to like what it is that you determined a couple days ago or the night before. And it's this whole planning of 10 minutes before, 10 minutes or 10 minutes the night before, 10 minutes before the market opens. And these simple little steps that you guys can take. I mean, it's going to take a lot more than 10 minutes initially when starting out, but just discipline yourself to actually, put time into this. If you guys really want to see a return, if you guys just want to hope for the best, then, feel right ahead. But I can tell you, the people that see success, especially within the Technical Solutions platform, are ones that are putting in, their time. And not always are you going to see, a return with your time right away. But I can tell you, like, not only will you learn so much in identifying potential when it comes to trading stocks or penny stocks, but the same concept that you use when buying and selling stocks, although it's an extreme and very quick, in a sense, market, you can use this for buying and selling real estate. It's what I use. You can use this for buying and selling motorcycles, cars. It's something that I do all the time, and it's how I've been able to drive, my supercars as like the GTR and the Z06, because I buy them at such low prices that when it comes to selling them, I either break even or make a little bit of profit. And it really comes down to that. And I want to make sure that I'm as open to you guys as anyone that asks me about my cars. And in no way am I driving this car because, I want to flaunt how much money I have. And everyone always asks me, oh, you must have so much money. No, not at all. I mean, I do this as a sort of business. I do this to buy these cars at a really low price because I was patient, because I knew where I wanted to buy it at, because I know, when you buy it at this price point, it's a very good buy, to sell for a profit or to sell for where I bought it at. And with that, I get to drive around my investment, my dream car, and I don't see any loss. And you can do this with any car. You can do this, and this is something that is always out there. Dealers do it all the time. How can they buy a car and sell it for a profit? Yes, they're dealers. They have access to, more opportunity and more people. But you're one person. I'm sure you can do it, 3 or 4 times and drive around whatever it is that you guys want to do, or own your properties just like I do and buy them at a low price and sell them for a profit. Whatever it is that you guys want to do. I'm telling you, the concepts that you learn about investing and the time that you dedicate to like actually learning is really going to pay back. If it's not in this market, don't risk a lot. Do a simulation trading. Don't risk anything. Learn if you see that this isn't for you, but continue learning. That's the biggest thing, right? Learn, plan, execute. That doesn't have to mean trade. Doesn't have to mean buying and selling cars. But that means that whatever it is that you want to pursue, learn it, plan how you're going to be successful in it, and execute. That's it. I can't thank you guys enough again for the support. I'm not reading any of the live chats. I do apologize. I'll get on those right away. But I wanted to make this a little bit longer because I missed out on our usual, in a sense, recap that's usually at 10 to 12 in the morning. So I do apologize. Again, I'm like super sunburned, if you guys can tell. Not too sure if I'm going to upload the video. Let me know if you guys want me to. Give the video a thumbs up if you guys want me to upload my video at the lake with my buddies. But that's it. I mean, I can't thank you guys enough for all the support that you guys give me. And, we just hit 12,200, I think, subscribers within our YouTube channel. And we're about to break 14,000 members within our Technical Solutions platform. It's an amazing experience that I've been, blessed enough to actually share this with each and every one of you. And that's why I'm so excited to always work with each and every one of you in the morning, Monday through Friday at 6:30 Mountain Standard Time. Not because I love waking up in the morning, or not because I don't like getting sleep, because I love sleep, but because I love hearing your guys' stories, and I love how I've been able to have a positive impact within your guys' life. And that's why I do this. It's something that I never really thought possible. And every morning I wake up, feeling like I'm doing something right. And thank you guys again. So if you guys can like and subscribe, we'd greatly appreciate it. The link is down below if you guys want to join Technical Solutions. Again, it's a free networking platform where we share best practices and share mistakes in effort to promote growth. And that is all. I'll upload my helpful video within a couple of minutes or about an hour or two. So I do apologize for that delayed video as well. But like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. And I hope you guys have a safe weekend. We'll see you here for our Sunday Stock Talk. Thank you guys again. And make sure to watch last night's helpful video as well. I think you guys will learn that. Take care, guys.